welcome, Honorable Abdul Karim. Welcome to the show.
Yes, good day, the people, the internet world, and I'm here.
Honorable, tell people and small about yourself. Then are you the constituency where they come out? Just tell people and small about yourself.
All right.
Let people go know you.
Hello.
Yes, I said, yeah. Introduce yourself. Make let people know you.
Me na Honorable Abdul Karim Kamara. We many people they call Honorable AKK. I represent the people in Cambia District, Constituency 059. These are 3 chiefdoms: Magbema, Monutala, and Nasongbala chiefdoms.
Okay, Honorable. Honorable, we get some. Let's say you did some. Watch some clips the way they do some development programs that within our constituency. I like some of the things and the way they do.
Well, if we don't find like when you get the clip, then I will tell you exactly which are they do, because not a one-off project, and many projects we talk about here. So
okay, just highlight them.
So una forgive me, I intervene quickly. Daniel, I don't know you able for make me host again because I be want to show some of Honorable in program the way they do pictorially so people then go actually see, but I can't do that because me not to host. Or una can just go ahead with the program. We'll go Honorable get for come a third time and we will just showcase all in development.
Yeah.
He's building a mini stadium, water project, but he will say it all. So I'm out now anyway. Sorry about that, Honorable sir.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. You can highlight them.
All right, let's go back. I think you get for offend some of me viewers, and we don't follow me on Facebook and other social media platforms. Them we don't see what they do, because this one will give you the give them the enabling environment for see all waiting. I will forget some of the things that I don't do. The way I dip and do now. But let me start in 2018 after the election in March of 2018. I will get an urgent call and a need of me people na the Monutala chiefdom when 2 communities them when one Abamwe Bana and the other one Tawea Munu. We through me power me ability I be able lobby. At that time we will not even go for second round seat. I be able lobby with the Ministry of Water Resources and then build 2 stand pipes them at the areas, and the way don't make people until they get water for drink. Pure water then and 2 parts of the towns, major towns that be constituency now. The chiefdom headquarters of Monutala and Tawea Munu, that will be the first project we do. I start with the advocacy project them. After that, we advocate for 5 schools in my constituency one charitable organization then called Sunday Foundation. We able build for we across the constituency, and we give school. Senior secondary school Nakaula, outside senior school not every day. We build another one Imakawaka, we get another one the other side all Masumbala chiefdom. We be able to get 5 day from Sunday Foundation. So in 2019, I will start another project with our town halls where I be the bill. The town halls them I be able to start one Bamoy Bana. I do another one Bamoy Luma. I do another one again. Another village. We of course I want to give credits to one mine in common. We dynamic constituency we give 12 million loans. Well, it was too small, but this according to them now be the constituency development out of the lease agreement we then sign with the people them. So they may ever give 12 million. So we begin another town hall na Matorene. In 2020. We start what I call it the Trinity Healthcare Project. When at 3 hospitals, we start, and as I talk to you, so we depend with the roof there now. In 2020 again, we start the mini stadium project. We try to do within the time limit of who we get available between. So we start the 3 healthcare projects, and we move to the mini stadium. Well, I will forget some of the other project name. as I talk to you. But also in 2021, early this year, we started the 7 classroom building project, Masimra. So far, these are some of the projects we're doing. Well, normally I'm not in count the support they give to mocks them, because one of the things why I inherit the constraints in the fact say they mocks them, they don't build them, they don't map, but they go on the most style not be concrete. So we gave in 2018 early by October, we gave dish out almost 400 bags cement to all of them. Some of them mocks them they follow them concrete steel foundations them. Let people know where they pray and be grown. These are some of the project the more don't do. Of course, I know I also will talk about the Corona support of buckets and every other thing who they give. The Lila to gather so can get to the people in the constituency. All of this form part of some of the things that we don't do within just the 3 years period where I don't be member of parliament.
Okay, Honorable, thank you for the incident we don't do. You talk about say a mining company give you helping out like 12 million. What are the corporates? What are the contribution of mining companies? Them, I want to ask you for almost mining companies and then a constituency.
Of course, I not even get a mining company in my constituency. Now the part of my Gbema Chiefdom, one small portion of them, some few villages and they will fall within the arrangement of the mining sector. Now that part in Akambia district. These are the first time so far middle area of a mining coming around Kambia district. And so part of the lease agreement with them dip and try for couple up with government. Then we have to do payment of royalties to chiefdoms and to the members of parliament on behalf of the constituency. So as I tell you, then give me 12 million will be collect. And well, since that be part of me projects for able to do a community center now, one of the towns that we involved in the mining sector, I will decide for do one amateur, and of course 12 million not be even do for the foundation, but I want to be open for people and say I received that money there and I use that for the intended purpose. We me and my councillor and other people and be approved say we for use and they.
Yeah, because why I asked that because now part of mining, part of every mining policy that mining companies them for part of their responsibility and corporate social responsibility.
This is not corporate social responsibility. This is what they give as constituency development fund to members of parliament.
So what's in they do for? What's in they do for?
They're not start for mining. So I'm not going to talk about corporate social responsibility because I don't get an idea on them.
They not start for mining because when they start for mining, part of the money the mine. Therefore, they bring that as corporate social responsibility now payment to them supposed to they make. Now, Honorable, you say you the bill. Also, I'll ask you, who say you can get money so for bill all them plenty things here.
I think that
they do have plenty money in parliament.
Well, that's not the plenty question many people on the ask. I can smile sometimes and they being a member of parliament is one, but understanding the plight of your people and the willingness to sacrifice on their behalf is a very important policy in serving the people. We not receive money as members of parliament for bringing development to people. And by the 2004 Local Council Act, it shifts the development board into the councils, and therefore, for a member of parliament even give money for buy a shovel, they ever come out of in salary or part of in benefits as a member of parliament. So all written you get to see and all which you don't see, and all which they try to do. These are just part of the sacrifice that they pay as a young man for making me people able to get access to proper health care, and for letting people able to get access to quality education without moving. Because again, sometimes I need to give you a small background of the constituency where they represent. I represent a constituency in Akambia district where, as I talk to you so now they get from when mobile phone scanners alone. And the first thing this would get a mobile poll who I'll be advocates for from Orange. And as I talk to you, so they don't sort them up. And I'm sure within the next 2 weeks we will be in get network. See, how deprived my people are. As we talk, so now we not even get one senior secondary school way approved by government for a very long time now. And now the Catholic Mission, if we forget one Abamwe Bana who still struggle for setup. So now Sunday Foundation, if we this year, within these 3 years, constituency I am representing, that is not the constituency they represent. I am representing poor people. I don't know what it means for let somebody doing the campaign, then told a woman before me that they go time for go born over 3-4 miles, he go and die on the road. So I should not wait for government. I need to sacrifice. If the people can walk 4-5 miles for go vote for me, as a young man as I am, I think I need to sacrifice my comfort and every other thing way I get as a member of parliament to make the people comfortable.
I understand say governments they give parliamentarians every year they give a constituency development fund. Is it true?
Well, I still need for read the document we say so. Whether they receive as a member of parliament, of course, I really go glad if the government they get that kind of money for constituency development.
Just action a yes or no question because you don't really know from 2018, 2019. You receive money 2019, you receive money 2020 as constituency development fund.
There are certain questions again. You have to understand with me, my background as journalist. I get some small background in journalism. There are certain questions we the answer. We have to deal with other people in integrity. You have to take them for answer.
When we go public information.
Thank you.
If governments they give
members of parliament,
parliamentarians, constituency development
fund, members of parliament, they receive constituency facilitation fund, not constituency development fund. From 2018 to now, we they receive constituency facilitation fund, not to constituency development. Every quarter, not to yearly, even the DQM. So not to even waiting the money they for, like I explained that they get you understand.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Every 6 months, government they give you money when a facilitation will help you for go to your constituency as regularly as you can, not to for go do development, but for let you facilitate yourself as a member of parliament for come na parliament and for the go to you people as regularly as you want. But imagine in a quarter, if the money you talk about so a week now and something just like 1 million loans when in give up and quarter. So it's not as much as people think it should be.
Okay, so it means you see, so you say they say it's not as much as people think. So if people enough for think, you for just come and give out the information, say like we don't talk say 1 quarter and like 1 million. So it's
no. I'm not saying so, sir. A quarter they give 18 million a quarter.
So it means the 6 months.
3 months.
So it means the 6 months now 36 million.
Of course.
So it means the 1 year now 72 million.
Of course, nobody knows the end of the day.
Okay, no, I just want everybody to know, so that everybody knows say governments they give parliamentarians 72 millions every year as constituency facilitation fund.
Thank you.
Okay, so so how your relationship with your councillors then? Because you mentioned say councillors them they handle development, because I want to know your relationship with them, waiting at them parts and this kind of program as well.
The MP in relationship with the councillor, of course, going to be a cordial one, simply because the councillor self, government know they get money and for good development. The government they send funds to the councils, and the councillors, they go to council and deliberate for the project that the government is send. Say for example,
excuse me, almost councillors then you ward, now you constituency.
3.
Okay. And they all now the same political party then come out?
I get 1 NGC.
One NGC, then you get the
2 APC.
PC, 1 NGC. Okay, so how the relationship there, how you work with them concerning their development project there? How much they involved?
Well, because not to like statutory funds are they use, I bring them on board, we work together. But again, not to by law establish a need for work with them when I develop, put me on development projects. But I'll tell you, see, most of the development project the way they do, they are on the known, and they also supervise the people where they do them.
Because constituencies, then what's then get development committees where they handle things, and they are where I think say you work with well, and then but it's good that you aim for work with them. And even though because like person will come out now or abroad or some other side, one go undertake development, you know, only for talk with the councillor or this, that it just now your money, like personally your money which now you spend, so you don't need for include them exclusively if you not choose to.
No, you need even if you use a private money, it's also good that you involve them, because every ward uniquely gets a own problem. Let you know go dig toilets, who side they want water well.
Now they are the specialists, then we sabi for them ward them.
Thank you. So, thank you. They know the problems within their wards. Or else you could
I mean every ward get development committee. All level and the development committee.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I want to ask you on some things then, because another thing we're also very clear is that Parliament and the judiciary, and then they hold the executive accountable, because the executive, the funds, they manage the funds. So if Parliament's not all, the Parliament and the courts, they're able for all the executive accountable. Everywhere in the world, the executive can tend for be reckless. You understand? So now, would they see agreements, mining agreements, you know, some percentage, you know, in the court some percentage, the tax or some people and for pay, you know. Waiting, I they see they say some mining companies recently, you know, the minister been they say the mines minister been they say, you know, for reduce the percentage about 25%. I don't know which you take on that.
Which company? Because we've dealt with many contracts. So because we deal with the public, we can be specific on which contract.
Yes, I think the recent Chinese company, then say the minister.
Which one of them? Because again, if we'll be able to get like a specific agreement, because we don't deal with many Chinese companies.
Okay, so like I just say like in the past three companies them and concession where governments they give them companies they already in the mine. The last three where you witness how you see them in terms of
complying to waiting.
So the standard way they not give them, government not give them so much leeway. Government not reduce the money them for pay, as government not reduce the money they pay, because often government, the argument of government can be say, when they bring their mining companies here, I ask them for pay less money, because when their mining companies here come, then they provide jobs for people.
All right, I sorry, but I am confused now, because when you talk about companies paying money, I want to know: are you talking about the lease agreement? I want to know: are you talking about mines rights or whatever? What's EPA? Who's money?
No, not on mines rights.
Are you talking about concessions? Which will you talk about?
Concessions. I want to talk about the concessions. Governments can choose, the executive can choose for give them concession, which I think has to go through Parliament or something like that, or I don't know. About Namika said Parliament get responsibility for all the executive yonder. But the argument with government can always be that then why I want for make let them come so that they're going for come operate and then going for provide jobs. Where some of them concessions then if they actually pay unto government, they go make enough money we go in our government hand for undertake development projects.
So what's the question?
So the last three concessions that we don't witness as parliamentarians, how you see them?
Well, it depends on which you look at. Is it tax waiver concessions? Are you talking about reducing the price of
now the tax waiver concession?
Let me say, let's be specific on them.
Yes,
Again,
now the tax waiver.
You get different views depending on the tax policy of the country and waiting government when at the executive they bring forward to we as members of parliament.
How now they react to them when they within government again?
We look at the agreement, we debate them. Again, it depends to how much you don't follow the agreement that would debate in the parliament. But when we think the tax waiver is plenty, when we think the tax waiver is not reasonable, we raise them up, and most times we can get away with, they can amend them. It depends to company by company. If we are being specific, like we're looking at a specific company, then I will tell you specifically waiting at the situation with that company to the best of the information we are available to me. But I want to say all of the companies who don't ratify so far, I know assure you say they need the good in the good interest of the country in entirety. But I want to assure you say, as members of parliament, we do due diligence to them.
Okay, so I want to ask you one question around that. When I get any fixed amount or fixed percentage where mining companies and they
not forget not to members of parliament they fix that one day. What will they do now for ratify the agreement? Our roles as members of parliament is not to determine what happens in the agreement, but the agreement is being drafted and brought to us as members of parliament for debate and ratify the agreement.
Yeah. So
and most times,
so in debating the agreement for ratifier, una they also look at the information within inside the document. Okay.
And that's what we do. And that's why we're ratifying.
Yeah. So you also they look at the information within inside the document. Okay. And if you see the information within the document is not consistent with acceptable standards, because not to for go ratify, not to for go look at the documents no more and say, well, I agree on these documents or you don't agree on that. You agree on the tax concession where this particular company, governments they give this particular company. Now on our responsibility.
All right. Let help you small. What normally government can take for the dual tax concession here is purely in the hands of the executive. Most times you can look at, first of all, waiting this company they come with at the table. Most times the tax waivers can be, okay, if you're bringing in machineries, their machine is there. Again, it depends on how government they sign them. I'll give you a typical example with the African minerals. Because at that time, we ABC didn't have government, we they signed that agreement. Most people said many things that were not correct when it comes to tax waivers. Waiting them to do is then give the company tax waivers, but there was a condition say when on they go, the rail owner the bill, the train and the rail, they left to government and government property. So in that kind of agreements, then the government they give tax waivers, you understand? So at the end of the day, certain percent of the investment in the company and government get them. When you talk about 25% additional, I seems for the understand what you say, but from a distance perspective, say the minister they talk say now they give concession to Kihon, but they get I think 10 or 15% of the company in Sierra Leone company get them. And the company they pay the rail, they pay for the rail to government, and government they list them the rail. Now these are because there was a pre-agreement before now where government begin African minerals waivers them, where and now government of Sierra Leone can boast of say we have the rail. Now the rail now we own property. That's some of it. But I make I tell you say if we be specific to the agreement, then if I don't go and if I able go back to my library and get you which agreement, which government is stand for gain in that agreement, to make government.
No, it's clear because what is clear, waiting people don't understand. Waiting people don't understand this tax waiver is not a uniform one. Where you go say uniform percent. It depends on different agreements and way. Like where you don't they talk so all lengthy and they get for influence them. So everybody knows
It
now.
It depends on different agreements. Again, it depends on waiting the common in the count at the table.
Yes, that all that
so
they make them.
You're not able to so blue and white uniform from any school became. If we know they go Edwards, you know go wear them.
So, but when you say because of that, the executive get exclusive power, you get exclusive power. I wonder whose kind of power we parliamentarians una get for able for create balance.
When I say they get it, I don't think so I use the word executive exclusive power.
Okay,
I say it fall within the mandate of the executive for determining the agreement. Of course, just like what they get ratify international treaty. Now government, the executive, they go sign international treaty overseas. For the council and parliament, for them, we ratify within and don't sign. That is not in any way saying parliament not get power, because we get power for reject the treaty if we say not in the interest of the people of Sierra Leone. And that's why we are the moral guarantors of the people when it comes to the conscience of the country. So
you don't ever reach moments where you get like a tax waiver where government agree upon, where government determine. During your term, you don't ever get tax waiver where the parliament say, even though government determine this, but we think otherwise say no.
If you don't go through me debates in a parliament, you will see one or two I don't challenge personally. But again, I not like for say me. But I will tell you, say this parliament don't bring many of them into the highlight, and most of them have been solved. So again, one of the problems we get here as Sierra Leoneans are not following much about parliament, but they get so much interest about parliament. So one of the things we're going to ask people for doing for the follow parliament now that the state broadcaster don't do well small for the I'm out live on Facebook and all the thing on internet. At least some of them questions here, if we follow, we will be specific on waiting we really want debate on.
So
I think we don't get any agreement in the, we don't dot the T's and cut the don't cut the I and dot the I and cut the T's where necessary. So that's where we are.
Yeah. So you say you get one or two you don't do.
I get plenty of the argument you don't carry personal necessary.
So I want to ask, you don't ever reach a position where government say this, but una the parliamentarians then say this otherwise, and now you stand on the one way
on witness specifically because we're dealing with bills.
Yeah, and then two then the way you say you mentioned, so you say raise some of them.
Of course, again, parliament is not all about disagreeing with government. Yeah, parliament is about the conscience of the people.
No, I want to ask you now specific question. I ask you, you don't like then two then the way you mentioned. So say in one or two, a couple of audios, you don't do them a couple of times. You don't raise the issue then the way governments can make this kind of concession. You parliament and say, apart from you raising the issue, with the those the minister alone or the position.
All right. I'll try not to give you the answer you want, but I'll give you the answer that makes much meaning to Sierra Leoneans. Yeah. When we get the Kihon agreement, coming to parliament, it was members of parliament who asked for it through the leader of the opposition, Honorable Cheno Majuba, asked for implement ICAM parliament. For me, that's the greatest achievement ever. Where I think that leader they don't do for we as Sierra Leone, because we are operating. We of course the entire world see where they make it ship out iron ore without an agreement. So we get for call for the agreement, the lease agreement, the rail agreement, and all of that when they come in piecemeal. Perhaps now you see all of this, we ask all of these questions. So sometimes it's not just disagreeing, but why you bring agreements to parliament? One, for it to the knowledge of the people. Secondly, because government don't stay forever. and because you never get all the subsequent government already come, they bring some of their agreement and they follow, then take to the records, saying now this can be agreed upon. So when there's a change of government, there's no need. Well, you can review the agreement, but there's no need to cut off the whole agreement. And that is what we're doing as a country. I think you are asking if we don't ever raise a matter where government don't amend when it comes to agreement.
Yes,
I think
like where government come with a concession. Government say this not tax waiver. The minister introduce and say this tax waiver, this inside this document. Una parliamentarians say una look at and say this not so
from both sides of the world. Yes, we don't do plenty them. But specifically which they ask for, I think
apart from raising the issue. I think
you're getting this
accept them.
That's where you're getting it a bit confused. When I say they raise the issue, not to let me talk anymore. I mean, we raise them and the issue was dealt with. For when you raise an issue in a parliament, they just talk anymore, it fly. No, when you raise them and it makes sense across the aisle, or they say, okay, let's pin on this and arrange them once and for all. So we don't get some plenty time way. We all the agree as members of parliament for
the minister and the government, the executive they back down on imposition.
Why not? They are not.
Okay,
they are also not superhuman. They yes. Sometimes they back. Sometimes they give us reasons. Sometimes they give us reasons to understand why the waivers. Of course, now we should cooperate in certain areas, and when we think the interest of the people is at stake, we also can defend them.
But from what you did now, the one the way then don't explain to una the reason why then they bring this waiver. Then the one they una don't oppose, also I think say plenty. Una oppose and be successful.
I know I use the word oppose.
Object or
thank you. We get reason for object when it is reasonable.
Like
so I know
the number.
Like I know able to say now this amount of agreement don't can at this amount we object to. I know we give that statistics there, but one thing I want to know is, in the interest of the people of Sierra Leone, we've done justice to all agreements we don't come before we, and we don't try to put the people interest above every other interest in all of the agreements.
Okay. Honorable, another issue we see Honorable Chaikoko and other parliamentarians and they advocate for the release of one parliamentarians were incarcerated because they're selling a weapon, something like that stuff, and other political parties then they within the some people in the ask say why the una the political class, the parliamentarians una no decide like for look at Kamarimba issue, Mohamed Kamarimba issue, where a dinner detention for a bailable crime, where not so a flight risk, not their potential for commit harm in community. Some people in the question why they advocate for this honorable release and then parliamentarians they're not able for CC then get need for talk for Kamarimba, even though win parliamentary seats. What's your take on that? Hello?
I don't know which one we are talking now. The Kamarimba situation or the Kamarimba? Yes, let's answer you on the issue. Again, as they say, Sierra Leoneans like this parliament, but Sierra Leoneans not get time for follow this parliament. I will try to send you two other audios of two other members of parliament who will debate this year, which was just in 2 weeks back or so. We talk about the Mohamed Kamarimba Mansari situation. Again, now we lost them. We guide we as members of parliament to stand in others. When it mattered before court, you the only appeal on them, but you don't get the right to talk on the merits. That's what we stand in others says. So in this situation, you ask so. I will invite you to the debate of Honorable Brown Kanu, where many people they call now the Y member of parliament. We ask the question why Kamara still in waiting for a bailable offense. I will also refer you to the Honorable Alpha Amadou Ba in debate. We also talk on the of course in our ESQ now a lawyer. We be skillfully talk on the issue of Kamara. Again, I don't know why people also try for giving the role of the judiciary as members of parliament. These are things that are within the ambit of the law and the judicial arm, within the judiciary altogether. All we do as members of parliament is to advocate in some of the issues and I don't think say Mohamed Kamara Masai from the day they arrest until now, any debates don't happen at parliament. We get for do it state opening, or we get for do it even budget debates. We get for do justice related debates where the name Mohamed Kamara Masai not be mentioned. But as you talk to me, so again, I will still refer you say, try to do more research on the debates that we do. Go on to SLBC online.
Okay. And so honorable people and the understanding of people and the perception why people and they demand more on parliament for come on board. People are not they look at parliament, sober mind they not they look at parliament as a judiciary. But if a due process in law and call and due process, okay? So in law and call and due process. So if due process not go on, the issue need for be challenged. Not so the judiciary gets that. Not so the judiciary gets that.
And that's why I don't refer you say we don't challenge many issues, not just the issue of Kamarimba Mansari, but don't even challenge the issue of the people in Makini where they arrest on the day they kill the other one them and still not get justice. We don't advocate for that day. You see, we don't wear black, we don't go to parliament. Again, I still say it all boils down to how much people they follow this parliament. It is good. One thing we like about what's in the happen now, the fact say people are interested in what happens in parliaments now, and therefore we say let's as we become more interested for either castigate members of parliament for which we think they need to do right, or for either bring out what people expect members of parliament for do right. They also people get the moral responsibility for know what we did do, because I cannot tell you you're not doing it well if I don't know what you're doing in the first place. Okay. I cannot tell you you're not doing it well if I don't know what is ahead or what are your challenges in your workplace.
Yeah. So honorable, all lives matter. The people in upline, the one who they kill and all of those things, but then all lives matter. But Kamarimba a political leader where in life matter like any other person. But waiting people they expect say parliament for don't go beyond just one or two times like we talk and raise up the issues and no. If you cancel the worst one, I can do that. If you cancel the worst one, I can do that. No. I tell you, if not major political party,
if you read in this conversation with the guest, so if you read 97 of the Constitution and see the powers and the limitations of a member of parliament, they go find that we get the onus for behave honorably in and out of the world. Kamarimba na just one issue they outline. We don't get several members of parliament who have been arrested. We not protest. All we do is what we are doing. We go to the well, we raise up the issue, and we seek.
We will not come out with press release. We will not come out with press statements. We will not come out with a formal position on Kamarimba issue. Hello, I think I lost this honorable.
System is not Now only advocates will be able to do.
So well, people and they say will not come out with like a statement as political leaders. Kamarimba could have been one
you get other political parties. Kamarimba is an aspirant and a chairman of political parties.
Yeah.
I don't know why you know we call Prince Adi, or you call Kande Umkela when a leader of a political party in Action.
No,
my role as a member of parliament is I advocate on those matters and we bring out what in the law say. Don't forget we are not lawyers. Don't forget we are not the judiciary. We are members of parliament. We advocate on behalf of our people. And I want proud to tell you, say, as far as the matter of Mohamed Kamarimba Masai concerned, we've done due diligence to them.
No, some people still just say the issues and then a parliament.
I don't know why you think so we can satisfy every other person. We're not able to satisfy every other person. I don't think say I even able to satisfy me with your opinion on every other matter.
Because people in the say like don't come out with press statements for demonstrate not to riotous conduct for politicians, for parliamentarians to demonstrate. Riotous conduct. Now reasonable conduct.
I will not want to talk on this Kamarimba situation because
so let's go to some other thing.
Protect me.
Okay, so political parties are vehicles of development now any parts in the world. Now I make people in the go into politics because political parties now vehicles of development. You want to bring some national development, some constituency development. You're able for bring and come through more quickly through national politics because in politics, resources whether in our opposition, incumbent. So the need for political parties for function effectively. I make when election they come, then don't know them, then they give all them political parties money, opposition them, for let them able for keep up themselves, let them all participate in the process. So it means the function of political parties is very healthy for development. Okay, so I make this background to some of the things that will happen now the APC, where they go on within the APC as we come very close to the election. As we come very close to the election, and some people within the APC, Dr. Abdul Conte, and some other people, Kemosori, Ibrahim Bundu, then they went there. They say they're not open the door, and the Secretary General said not open the door, and them. What are you take around that?
It's unfortunate that you're asking this question, and I want to be quiet on this, and I want to speak on it because so far, when you set up the talk, you see the information we are available to you. On His Excellency Abdul Conte and members who are going to participate this and say the post with the accused when the ambassador not make a statement.
Inside full statement. The full press release.
I not preview to
okay.
I not preview to because I not make a statement on them.
Okay.
With all due respect, sir.
Okay. A full statement is saying now for security concern. Anyway. So now left that. Okay. So
again, you get for no say COVID there. You get for no say COVID there around 50 man gathering a COVID rule. So you don't know it's in the security implication. And of recent there is a gone around the EPC business. I make another one speak on that matter there at all.
Okay. No, you're very right.
I want to save my integrity.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Very right, Honorable. Honorable, recently we see Dr. Kande Umkela, they say the speaker, the sideliner committees. Parliamentary, I will get where they inside there. Give you some insights of that.
Well, it all depends to which society map we argue around the. I don't know which in them we don't use for gear more than not the gear now. Until they come out and say, now this time they give me and then they give me again. I also don't want to talk on that matter because It has to do with the sensitive integrity of the parliament where I find myself. Like when we go as member of parliament, because I don't really expect much, I don't know it's I get me on TOR as a member of parliament, an ordinary member of parliament. For put me in a committee, in the prerogative of me party leadership and the whip and the acceptance of the speaker. So if they don't give me 2-3 committee all these years, if me party leadership in the parliament not thinks I deserve them again, then he also withdraw the opportunity for me. But I don't know what's now the different TOR way can the get. Now ain't no more able to talk on that. They say
you don't confuse me more. You don't confuse.
Well,
you just don't succeed. You just don't succeed.
Are you confused so on this issue of Kandem Keller and so myself confused? So long not confused, I know they listen to me more. Until he come out open and say, I be expecting, I forget airplane, I be expecting I get boat, I be expecting as a member of parliament, when a leader of well, this again, and some of the things already talk. As members of parliament, we not get a direct condition of service. So until they come out and talk to the people which is supposed to be in condition of service and how they deprive them.
No, he said then they deprive them for putting on a committees. He said as head of a political party, committees then they will demand that all heads of political parties for Dede. So in the speaker, the sideliner.
I go also read the necessary standing orders we use for each conclusion day. And Parliament is not just an institution of representation; it's also an institution of law. You get the Constitution and the standing order will guide your behaviors. So until a family to a standing order, we say according to this standing order, I suppose to dinner this committee and not put me there. I'm not gonna make I'm not gonna make an opinion on them. So until we reach that peak day, they go speak more clearly. Now me can be a brother. But when they speak more clearly on waiting whose committee is supposed to do in all day, then I will able to come and say, okay, this was right or this was not right or this was this was not.
So give me more insight, Honorable. The members of different political parties, who that they put on the committees now? The head of una political parties and at the parliament.
Of course, now you're representing a political party in parliament, and when they're ready for form committee, now the whips them and the leaders of the parties now they determine whose committee for the at which time. Because again, you get to understand, so you get to get high party discipline, and those are again they look at your ability and your qualification for being a certain committee. Then they again at the whip, then they do them, not to just every Jack and Jill go do them. So it's their own role. So now make I tell you say again you have to understand which committees, and again the standing order clear about how the parties and forget representation. It is by your number of members of parliament, and they determine the number of people you get in certain committees. You understand? Again, I make I say I don't want to speak on or behalf of Kandem Kela until certain things are very much clear. Is it deprived as a party? Is it deprived as an individual? Is his members deprived? Or many other questions if we ask. When we reach that peak day, then we go speak about that. But for now, I don't want to speak on the issue of Kandem Kela being deprived. As I say, he's an elder brother from Gambia.
So generally, within your perception about the fight against corruption as a law?
Well, it's a national fight, and I think year in, year out, government in, government out, all man don't take in positions. So I will tell you,
within a young position.
Well, it's a fight we need for put more seriousness into. That would be my take. In a fight we really need for put more seriousness, and a fight we need for remove away from partisan approach to a more nationalistic approach. For me, if you ask me, I think the people of Sierra Leone, they're supposed to constitute a committee, and in that committee, they not to president, they appoint them. It will be different people from different committees will come together, and then they will give the mandate for appoint an anti-corruption commissioner, and not for be the president appointing the anti-corruption commissioner. If you ask me, that's my candid opinion. Until we reach that peak, they will get people, civil society, religious organization. Well, I use the word credible civil society organizations who come together and nominate people. We'll try to get a way we go appoint with anti-corruption commissioner, but the president appointing the anti-corruption commissioner, it's a no-go area for me.
Okay. So honorable, waiting at the problem. One and discuss the two past Auditor General's report. Why Parliament waiting make Parliament edit?
I'm glad again for get this question. Nobody expects them, but I'm glad you said them. What normally they happen is Parliament not to attire base. In Parliament, there is a business committee. Within the can of the order paper, they be determined by the leader of government business and the clerk of Parliament. Until they put on an order paper, I think in 2018 audit report, 2019 audit report, 2020, anytime they lay an audit report, members of Parliament, they move a motion for debate. It's left to the leadership of Parliament for table and for a debate. Of recent, again, as last sitting, we get the same issue of asking for let the leadership present the report. Follow debate. Well, as I talk to you, so I now get an order paper it we present an opportunity for debate. And we'll look forward for debate the audit service report, the Auditor General's report. And it will be a very interesting debate.
Yeah, but I think the Auditor General's report it's such an important document where I don't think say we not to attire based discussion than they will.
No, when I say Parliament not to attire Parliament not to attire based, not a structured institution. The members of Parliament get right to move a motion. The members of Parliament get right for move certain motions. Them say, okay, these people are on the table, so I move a motion that we debate them. But for like, it can not as you move the motion or as you give what's up to the motion means that the motion they come automatically. As I tell you, we have a business committee when I bring them forth, and for 3 years, members of Parliament across the aisle, SLPP Tawa, Honorable Laemara, Honorable Daniel Koroma, Honorable Asan ACC, Honorable Opposition Leader, we all done the clamor for them bring the audit service report for we debate them. But as I tell you, it's a structured place, and for whatever reason, I think we will continue for press because we need for let the people we elect we know what's in the audit service report.
Honorable, see a lot of other African countries and the way they handle the audit reports. Okay, like if you go to Malawi, the president will then appoint the president will then elect in Malawi.
Let me make one correction again. Auditor General is an institution under Parliament. Yeah. And then they report directly to the Public Accounts Committee at Parliament. So when then they do their report, then table them, the Parliament, they take possession of the document. Sadly, under this dispensation all day, we don't see anti-corruption, they investigate people for waiting in the audit service report, even before members of Parliament debate them. And also this has been so selective. You understand? This has been so much selective. Like the last 3 years, you see, they call the mayor for investigation, according to what's in the audit service reports. But then now they call ministries where the audit service report don't allege that it's so much. We involved in so much Dabaru business. We more they never account for ceremony. So let me tell you this. It asked me for the fight against corruption. I say it is one that is still not even in the pipeline. The water not even in the pipe it.
Okay. So right. Yeah. So Honorable, I focus on the role of parliamentarians in the fight against corruption here.
Okay.
Now South Africa, now Ghana.
Okay. Again. I want
to talk something. I want to come up top with something. Okay. In South Africa and Ghana and some other Africa countries, the Auditor General Office, the Auditor General's Act, they empower the Auditor General for prosecutes. In Ghana, if you know, if the Auditor General, Lara, the present Auditor General as alone, It's one of the key problems where they get, they ask people for documents, they're not again. Ghana, if the Auditor General asks you for documents, if you not produce them in 14 days, if you're not a government officer, then they seize your salary. Then give the Auditor General, then capacitate the office for prosecute. I make them countries in South Africa, Ghana, is that then the anti-corruption not get too much work because the Auditor General, they track all the money where government is send, and they tell you. So I want to ask you now, if the Auditor General's Act, you go able champion for make them repeal them, that the Auditor General for be capacitated for get prosecutorial power, or the procurement office for get a prosecutorial power they happen in other African countries where they show tremendous reduction in corruption. You go support that and champion that?
I'm not going to tell you thank you for this question because you now and down to me. But I will tell you, see, as members of parliament, we are young people whose integrity is on the test for more national assignments. We have looked at critical laws like the 1965 Public Order Act. We're not getting nothing to do with more of alleviating poverty from the ordinary people. When you look at the death penalty now, I think if anything, they will forgive powers to the Auditor General for make against short powers. You understand? Not forget, who's established now, say the Auditor General is a creature of Parliament, and a report now Parliament the first look at them with the Public Accounts Committee. So if we as members of Parliament are given the opportunity, we call for them for we review the act, we go do them happily. The reason is because it will ease the job of members of Parliament when it comes to debates or when it comes to issues of the PAC for SIDOM on the audit service report. So the long and the short of it is, I know one narrow and I'll say if me go get the support. Of course, I believe I trust the members of Parliament within at this 5th Parliament say, if that kind of view they come, if we not only support them, we could champion them with the last energy we get. We don't actually for review the Anti-Corruption Act. So why not the audit service report?
Honorable, if I put this question to you directly because I want to get them for you directly, and because I just have the thing now to the entire parliamentarianship, the body of parliamentarians. So you not see the need, say, I believe you me, Honorable, if you make a survey on this, you will get 7 million people who will sign to this thing. The death penalty important, the 1965, but this, the Auditor General, because corruption is one of the main problems, not two problems, leadership and corruption. If any African country able to handle them to Tinende is on right track. So people and they like honorable people and the members of parliament and they even like here, American here, where they introduce private members bill. You don't need for not to the government. Some people will say not to the government, no more can introduce them bill and they parliamentarians, 2-3 people. I studied law, like the guy you mentioned. You know me, we have been students for me, but we all study law at Fobe College together in the law department. So una can come together, a few parliamentarians can come together and set up a group and get people like that. They will get some legal tenets for handle for draft a bill like that. That's a popular bill. That's a huge political capital for any person who going for any political party or parliamentarian who will identify with himself for that bill. Now, huge political capital in the bill for himself, minus the fact say the thing very, very impressive and it will reduce in results, it will be fantastic.
I see your passion in what you believe in. And I think all I will say to this is point well noted. I don't listen to them and I will try for talk to other members of parliament. But as I say to
people
you,
like Tawa, talk to people and then progressive.
as I say to you, well, Natawa, you sabi. But when we talk about more progressive people, I think we have more names than even Tawa.
You don't say what come in that country this morning. Social media no matter see names.
Okay, I make. But we get more progressive MPs than just it's our way people talk about.
This honorable we call Alpha Maduba. Now we all grew up together, we all go for the college, we do first degree.
When we get
a progressive person.
When we get an opportunity for, again, I know you downplay the 1965 Public Order Act because it gives freedom to members of the Fourth Estate. We are also whistleblowers for come out.
I was working at SLBC. I know the weight of that thing.
I just tell you now, when it becomes when you give members of parliament, politicians, a field day on a normal Sunday morning, they will not want to remove the 1965 Public Order Act as a day because of the protection. So if we do that one day for remove them, not to empower the Audit Service Commission, we could try for do. Again, as you say, we don't expect everything from parliament, but again, you go actually serve the Tusim bill we Kandem Kela begin, they talk about from 2018. I don't want to talk about them, but you go ask the question how far you don't go. And you go find Kandem Kela or give number, you ask them how far you don't go that bill. When it is coming from a private member bill and you know get the interest of government normally, it's slow. But as you say, so since this government they go in for fight corruption at all levels, I think this is a good suggestion. We go raise up with amongst ourselves and we go discuss them and we'll find a way how we go make them smoothly. We will give all the service.
Honorable, I tell you, when we get signature, we want to introduce one bill. It's in a college. We draft this access to information bill. We then pass access to information bill. We set them up. Emmanuel Abdullahi, Oswald, me have been the PRO, Oswald and the secretary. We're all students, most of us are students, but also like also me the work now. NRA. We set up this bill. We come up with this bill. We were in students 2007. We went to the two political parties, APC and SLPP. We go to the parliament. Alpha Khan introduced me to an ESCOMA. Then they all make a commitment, say, then they agree when they come. If any of them win, that's when they be in the opposition. Any of them win, then go enact this bill. Then go enact the access to information bill. Okay. So what do? We do a strategy. We collect signatures. So if we are able to put this stuff together, and una not to just put them together because like una just put them together, like when you talk kind of you issue, so you lack government. But when government see pressure, if the government sees 6 or 7 million signature, massive support around this thing. So because that's the campaign, you know, forget legislation for pass a campaign. Sometimes so much lobbying, sometimes, but you get to take real campaign. I'll tell you, this campaign here, if that Auditor General for get prosecutorial power, if una fix up that private members bill, una fix up the bill, una bring and cancel the public. Una bring and cancel the public. Public the pressure government for get them be enacted.
I try to be very, very straight to what you asked. And when you make points we well noted where I need for notes, after you say when you are a student, I think internet maybe don't come up college first. You get time for, because you are not in the authority, you need people for support, you need the publicity on the bill and every other thing. But as members of parliament who they lobby, as we don't discuss this, we go lobby among ourselves, we go engage with ourselves for ensure say. And again, as I say so to you, this office we talk about is a creature of parliament, and now to members of parliament, no more did they report. and all the SIDOM over there reports them, Auditor Generals can also do it. I think if they think strongly, say this is one of their recommendations for them to get prosecuting powers, I think, and I just like when first boy picking the action, Papa, say, Papa, I need one room at the house. We go make the pala very decent to him, Papa. We go get them. But again, and not stop with all not get a private member bill on them. We go think strongly around them, and I am sure as members of parliament, I tell you, see, this is not a young parliament where young people's integrity is on the line for a better future ahead of them in this career.
I tell you, Honorable, every country in Africa where the Auditor General gets prosecutorial power, the level of corruption is low.
Okay. I need to do a study on this. Will you tell me? Because
okay, so I give some country them. I give some country now where you go. Go na Ghana. Look the acts.
It's not just
South Africa.
Again, you get to understand. Say, argue, and just one statement goes that talk about this corruption. I tell you, say, when it comes to corruption, I don't believe say the anti-corruption commissioner should be appointed by the president, because this was the same cry of the anti-corruption 3-4 years before 2007. And in 2008, when they amended the Anti-Corruption Commissioners Act, the then President Kamara gave anti-corruption the powers for prosecute without going to the Attorney General's office. Yet still, we've not seen much more prosecutions, except for see political fighting. But I am saying, if the Anti-Corruption Commissioner, because in all of this way you talk so, now the fact see the commissioner, we are talking about fighting corruption. If audit service not get the powers, but if the Anti-Corruption Commission is not political, then can also use, because at the end of the day, when we don't debate all within the Auditor General say, now it left to the Anti-Corruption Commission in situations where it is extreme. But in situations where in Parliament, also not forgetting in that situation, Parliament can ask institutions and individuals for refund the monies them back. And we don't, if you follow the Ebola, the terminal of the Parliament, but if you follow the Ebola report and how they debate them and how they levy fines and every other thing on people. But if you ask me on the fight against corruption, I'll tell you continuously say we need to have a situation in which the president does not appoint, whether it's tribesman or in political party person, for the Anti-Corruption Commission. That would be me position.
That's fine. Now, fine point you raise. So then country where the Auditor General get prosecutorial power. The Anti-Corruption get less work for do. Like when call this mayor, so like when you talk about this mayor, you cite this mayor, they invite this mayor, right? If the Auditor General gets prosecutorial power, now if he gets sufficient evidence, the Auditor General and the prosecutor in a court, not to the ACC self. Okay, so most of them consider they will get ACC Auditor General get prosecutorial power.
Me and you need for doing research for know whether in those countries the ACC gets prosecutorial powers without going to the AG, because it's two things. Yes, it's two things. I will further volunteer you see, if we get a situation where the ACC boss not to present the appoint the ACC boss, then you go also say, let's combine the office of the ACC and that of the Auditor Generals. I am a very careful person, and I choose my words. When you talk all of this, I tell you say the first fundamental principle is having the ACC boss been appointed by the people under whatever circumstance, but it not going to be appointed by the president. Because you don't see with all the evidence which don't come with all of the people where they cry for corruption all over the place, nothing similar is being done. We see the Anti-Corruption Commission and in they protect, say, no, well, if I need to investigate Mr. A, then I get to go investigate Mr. B, we be done in 2007 for. But in a situation where you have an anti-corruption commissioner that is not appointed by the president, we don't need for satisfying entrancement. We don't need, I think we will get them right as a country. So it's not, it's one thing to tell, we are not the fault for now in a salon, for let somebody tell me, say, oh, that's where they happen in Ghana, that's where they happen in so. No, wait, we are not in an island, but why am I saying this? If you check, like when you talk about the judiciary, take the military, for example. I don't want to bore you with this. I'm being very slow to speak today because our people understand certain things. When you take the military, Salon military, wasn't they pay a brigadier in a salon almost the salary of a lieutenant, second lieutenant in Ghana. So when they use certain scenarios to say, waiting they happen in Ghana, whether they pay the teacher in Ghana, whether they pay the principal in a salon are almost the same. The compensation and every other thing, let me come. Again, I'm the say, when they talk about a better judiciary in a salon, let me ask yourself the question, who appoints the Chief Justice in some of these countries who can try to emulate with Sierra Leone? If we get it fundamentally wrong, you understand? It means say the result of the expect not going to be correct. You know, plant pear, then you expect mango. So what they say is, in as much as we are charting the way forward for Sierra Leone, and we want to use other countries as example, as we state them countries as example, now we also try to know what's not the good merits of them countries, and we make the institutions then. Because what we have in Sierra Leone, now institutional problems rather than individual problems. Let me go you ask questions and one direction to me on which I think as a person, you say at the top from a perspective of an institution. Because until we get the institutions correctness alone, until we know how other countries don't make the institution much more better, then we will continue to get seas and seas of constraints as a country. So for me, I will tell you, one way to fight corruption as Salou and any other African country, not just the institution, not just the laws, but let's have a situation for start that Salou will say, the anti-corruption commissioner, now in criteria and then people there for appointment, let us see how it will work. And that is when you will see like when the last leaders will be under attack, you will see the anti-corruption commissioner where they benefit by some of the investigation, because most times we don't in a salon in the last 3 years, we not get any situation where anti-corruption will say that we investigate this matter and bring a camp forward. They will say according to the Auditor General's report. You understand? But when the Auditor General was under attack, ACC not put a press release to protect them because they have to protect the powers that be. So the truth of the matter remains, say, until we fix up institutions, like the ACC are still continuing to say, even the people where they work in the ACC, then credentials, then the integrity test for be one way for test the people. How do you appoint somebody for be an anti-corruption commissioner? Somebody we don't call people for protest against a particular government. Say that government didn't do well, they can't appoint as anti-corruption commissioner. They expect her to be a referee for fight against corruption. But I don't want to say all of this. I think I tell you, see, the bottom line is I will not want to pick on this anti-corruption commissioner. What I want to do is for fix as a member of a parliament, as a progressive one, for fix the problem. And one of the things we need for fix the problem is the national debate. Then out of Sierra Leone, the debate will be, let we try to get an anti-corruption. Let's start forget a chief justice, we're not to the president they appoint. When we get into things and they correct, because even where you get the anti-corruption and the free mandate for charge the matter go court, the chief justice appoint the judges. So what are you telling me? Now they allocate inside the matter they go. You know it better as a lawyer.
Okay. So now South Africa, then get a committee for the appointment of judges to the High Court and the Supreme Court. Okay. And then committees, then committees, you get opposition you get opposition, you get the ruling government, you get other church people, you get other basic then community leaders then.
So if you talk about it,
yes, so now I make agree with what you talk so. Then one and then they appoint, in fact, then they appoint judges to the High Court.
Another problem we get is what they need for understand this issue of tenures being affected by political appointments. When the president can say no, I know who this person, even when the person gets a tenure, they need for sack him. So it's about building stronger institutions and amending we find ourselves in a country where everybody as it pleases the president to appoint you, and so it also pleases you for satisfy the president. So we get certain positions in society where I want to call them the heartbeat of our democratic institutions, like the human rights commissioners, where now therefore cry follow them, arrest somebody unlawfully, when them beat somebody unlawfully. These people should not be appointed by the president. Because me and you, when they talk so, you see them days out and beat Stark Christmas and call black as me they talk so. You've not read a press release from Human Rights Commission for almost 1 week now. Because these people are appointed by the president and they have a moral obligation for satisfy the president. So the basic things, the basic rules, the institutions where they keep with democracy, the judiciary, Human Rights Commission, campaign, good governance institutions across the country, forget certain boards when for be entrenched into the constitutions, when they're responsible for picking people there. But as long as you left those democratic institutions, in like even the appointment of the clerk in parliament, you left all those institutions in the hands of politicians, you don't have the country where you deem forget. So we debate going forward. Why am I bringing this? Because I think as Sierra Leoneans, we don't waste so much time for look at the institutions rather than for talk about the things where they affect the institutions. Let's look at, for example, what do we pay our judges in Sierra Leone compared to other countries? Are we discussing along that line, or are we just expecting a good judiciary? If you they pay the person well and the person dispense justice, compare with they pay the anti-corruption commissioner on a salary basis on a month, and you compare with they pay the judges as you know you expect for dispense justice when corruption matters are being they appear before them. These are the things we need for do research on our country, and as young people where they ready for reposition the country and speak to some of the matters here. I think if we do that one day, you talk about even exam malpractice, for example. You they pay the person they mark YX script up to date salary, you pay 700 leons, 1,000 leons for one paper. If they mark somebody in English when I in future forget to university, then the person have to mark 1,000 papers for like get 1 million leons. Come on. Can we speak to the actual matters where they come with society rather than most times we talk politics and try to blame institutions? Do we know what is happening in those institutions? Now we begin to speak to some of the matters, and I don't want to be political this night. I am tired of speaking politics. I want to speak the issues that are affecting our society. I'm not being reluctant to ask questions today. You see the ask and they pretend as if I don't want to answer your questions. Not that I don't want to answer your questions, but the truth is we've spoken so much around politics.
Yeah, but so we need for the take action. Make I tell you,
blaming APC, without blaming SLPP. We were not moral guarantors. We then our social media, we then our traditional media. Need for begin set the agenda for discourse. Sierra Leone. Are we comfortable with the president appointing the Chief Justice? If no, can we bring it to the education of the people of Sierra Leone? Say in South Africa, in this country, and so they do them. Can we copy from this country, and did the Chief Justice if not 10 years, 20 years?
South Africa na 12 years.
Thank you.
South
Can
Africa
we
will
discuss-
appoint you to the Supreme Court.
So-
the committee
so you
where the committee
understand-
don't appoint you.
You understand now why
At 12 years you did
you
serve.
understand why the judiciary in those countries again is a bit up compared to you now. People come on. The CJOBD resigned. Why? Because he was not comfortable working with the system. And the way he resigned, you know, even 2 days.
Yeah, we'll get power.
Yeah.
The president is powerful.
Wait a minute, done. This current CJOBD, now incident power, the matters them where we 10 MPs, and now the post we passed the injunction on the 10 MPs of a good parliament, the day we never appoint the speaker. Now, just after the matters, and it was made CJ. Well, it left for let you think in a compensation. But I am saying what we need to do around the world as Sierra Leoneans, now for talk around the issues. I know you want to talk about the president, I know you want to talk about SNPP, you know, they do this, SNPP, you know, they do that, and this now it's APC, we don't do. Let us start to talk around the issues. Because, hey, if we young generation of young people miss them out, it need 40 years before another generation of young people come up for begin correct the mistakes of what they do so now. So I would deviate myself or talk about what SNPP do this net, what APC for don't do, waiting yesterday, today, tomorrow. Let's look at the issues. The Auditor General, the office, the ACC, for be combined, but the post way they aid the ACC, we're going to review the Auditors General and not for be post way the president appoint, or else if na SNP na power, again for the continue for the one after people na APC. If na APC na power, again for continue for the one after people na SNP. The ACC not for be seen as a political tool for oppressed oppositions, as we don't see in the last 3 years. And the only thing will prevent me from that situation, I will get an independent Chief Justice. We're going to be appointed by a body, not the president. We'll get an anti-corruption commissioner. We're going to be appointed because, again, we don't see people where they define for whether they charge go court with ACC. It is political. It is. So, I know if you want to talk about politics in this, let's identify the issues as we're bringing them out now. I expect you from tomorrow, you begin put that your Facebook page or your Twitter, forget a national, we set the agenda, say, what do we want? Who do we want to appoint the CJ? Who do we want to appoint the ACC boss? The president or a committee? Now we begin, that's how we talk, you've been a journalist, of course. That's how we talk about agenda setting. Now we begin set critical national issues what we discuss as Sierra Leoneans. So
we get on
the area of the judiciary and anti-corruption, this is what I want to say for now. Until we reach that peak day, or else if the president is appointing the CJ is appointing allocating the just the magistrate and every other person, it's who the president wants going down. So you can get a situation where one tribe will overcome the entire judiciary, all the bench, everything, the CJ, the all man are the same tribe, the same party going down. So who dispense justice?
I understand. So there are issues and they like the office of the anti-corruption commissioner, the chief justice, the offices then they, because now the president one green getter, the whole office then they, and they make their decision then they. It just like way they say, let them separate the office of the Attorney General and the Minister of Justice. From when me born, I don't dare read talk the every president talk, every president, but then just no one for them. But this one, in some countries, the anti-corruption na departments within the audit service. Okay, so all them things here it go happen, but it go look tape because now one person gets the responsibility for taking. But issues like this, the one when the Auditor General forget more prosecutorial powers, in more parliamentarians, they get 70 to 80% chance for bring that to fusion. See what you want to do, because I'm going to focus on parliamentarians.
You think that will solve the national problem we have?
Yes, because it don't happen in other countries.
Okay, that's where I have a problem. I don't know if you understand what I say here. those countries where you talk about, for like South Africa, for example, you talk about, you've also said their chief justice, their chief justice is appointed by a committee. Because even when you give the auditor generals the power for prosecute, where do they go to court? Do you give them a special court when they're in the form?
No,
They are
but
going to use the court of Sierra Leone.
No, but,
And
but,
they're going to use
yeah, but we can sort out Sunday first. Let me just sort Sunday out.
Okay.
You know, Honorable, where they read the report, you go send you email. I go send you email. We exchange emails. When I they read the reports in Ghana, I they read the report in South Africa, they read the report in Malawi. The amazing work of the Auditor General.
Can you help me not just send the reports to me, but also help me with the judicial structures of them countries and they vis-a-vis who appoints the judges, who appoints the CJ, who appoints even the court clerks. Let's start from there. Then you will be understand what they say. I am not saying we should not copy, giving the Auditor General's a prosecutorial powers. And then country then again, if you check the records well, they set up the judiciary well before they begin to talk about powers being given to institutions for prosecute. Because I can give all the powers for prosecute. I give a judge with a mind being upset. By the time you begin to prosecute, they don't even listen what you do because the person you think you prosecute, 9 tribesmen. So I am still saying, I agree with you. Not today. This not even become an issue we need for deliberation over and over again. I agree with you. Say we need to look into the issue of the auditors having a private, if possible. They give them the powers to prosecute, but it just like you buy white clothes or Ugi till Omar the play with my mind. What do you expect?
Honorable, you want give me assurance saying the next 6 months we can work on that. Me can work on that because I get people in our ground, I get civil society people, I get other people who they try for.
I don't know that you call civil society as alone. I ever find it very difficult to even work with who that you think in a civil society as alone. Because all the civil society, they now most of them are members of boards and parastatals. So I will be very careful.
It has always been that.
Well, me go be very careful for.
I get young journalists and civil society people who get network with. I don't start up this discussion with them. We just try for see how going for bring 2-3 of now like-minded parliamentarians on board for champion.
If I am convinced as a person, and I think it's in the interest of national, if it's a national interest thing, of course I will. But again,
you can champion introduce Hamid.
I am always impressed with the integrity of the people around certain discussions.
Yeah, you can introduce that bill in parliament.
If the people
introduce on a bring and cancel the people. That a strategy. When I introduce the bill, secure 7 million signatures.
It is always not just counter to the people. A difficult one you talk about something you're not convinced about. So I can forget self-conviction first.
Okay.
And forget a self-conviction over that matter. I have to look at the people when you talk about. So you say, people of civil society. As they have to now, wait, it's very important to me. I know since you are a boy, they don't say, show me your friend, I will tell you who you are. So I don't want to be seen in the coming of the wrong people. So I have to listen and do a background check on the people where you refer to say, now you partners the lawyer. And I am not doing it because you want it, but I have to be convinced it's of national interest.
National interest.
No, well,
that
again,
bill, if you introduce an parliament before 2018, you're not star parliamentarian. A popular notion. Everybody wants that. People engage in corruption.
Today not the first time I am. So
okay.
Everybody wants them. Our doors are always been open as members of parliament, and we know it's in people that come with a popular demand. I agree with you. Say this make a lot of sense, but for say it's a popular demand, well, I still get 1 year, some months for going to parliament, and I think if it's a popular one, the people will bring it. But so far,
well, you take Andy now. You take Andy to parliament now.
well, let me can say
you take Andy, you be PRO number 1 now.
No, I should not be convinced by somebody else's conviction. I need to be convinced by my own conviction. I need to do thorough investigations on this. I need to do
if you send me
research.
email, if you privilege for send me email, I can send to you.
I will. I need to do thorough research.
I need lots of research and
I need to convince myself before I convince other people. If I'm able to convince myself, then I will be in confusion. Then I will just add more confusion at the minds of other people. So let me read and do more research.
If you send you email, I will send sufficient evidence now. Different African countries will tell you say when they incapacitate the Auditor General's office.
Just don't limit it to that. Also do me research. We go tell me now the status of the judiciary. I think I blend the two together.
Yeah.
Because I know how they go.
I know. I know
how they go. Thank you. We don't get situations in our way. We don't get anti-corruption commissioners and charged directly to court. And the same anti-corruption commissioner, the cry foul, say the judiciary is not helping the situation. I not just want to go into all of that one day, but you ought to know all of that. Stay until you get a judiciary that is, well, I know I use the word autonomous, but that is seen to be autonomous. We don't have a better yield in the fight against corruption. I speak less when it comes to very sensitive issues, and I don't want to take praises for everything.
Young people, and I'll just the time for before you come, we've been discuss about you. I've been to share some things about you. I say, with your age, when I enter parliament, when I then 30s, 40s, 20s, get so much, national assets them, people them for able for preserve, so that, by the time when you do 10 years in politics, you are still young, you still get energy. If you get that, if you don't maintain that, your credibility with the kind impressive work the way they do so, you they groom yourself for real national leadership, So even if we been talk about that, people are like una national assets then. People are need for work with keep on toes, because when I enter politics young, by the time when I spend 4-5 years in politics, when I go then up in politics at that young age day. So they expect lots and lots from una. So I so appreciate you for this session. We hope so we'll able to collaborate with more of ourselves later, and then we'll go able to do more things. I think so we need to do more action and able to identify things that we'll be able to do within our own perspective, and things that we go able to do together. So what's your last word to Fambule?
The last word to Sierra Leoneans across the globe is we need to identify issues that affect we as a nation, try to learn from other nations, and try to do proper research on how did other people get it right and how we emulate some of the things in there. But again, as you say, we are not in an island, but we also get to get we hybrid. We get to take and we get to give. We get to get a blend of everything we do and get better laws. Luckily, we as a country we are looking at our grown no more than 1991 constitution, and this is at the time I expect Sierra Leoneans in and out of Sierra Leone for discuss on major issues we have to surround democratic credentials. Don't forget, no country in the world today not able to get better marketing of the country than democratic credentials are faulty. So for me, it's not blaming one party to the other. It's not blaming one president to the other. It's how we as Sierra Leoneans will come together and say, you know what? In this fight against corruption, we don't get them too much. We don't get law, we don't get law, we don't get law. Let's ask ourselves, what do we want to do again? How can we do this? In the fight against in our democratic institutions, what do we say about the media? Why is the state media so political? Why? If now the president they appoint the director general and SLBC not by promotion and the year we don't spend at the institutions, then the institution will be faulty because he who pays the piper calls the tune. If the president is asked to appoint every person in every office, then there is no need for those institutions to exist because they have no use to national service. The ONS boss, with it in charge of national security, has to be appointed by the president. Every institution has salon, for God's sake, and the president. So if you Alexei, we all give Obutu to the president. All institutions and the presidency. No, enough for be so when it comes to democratic institution, because that one day against the dwarf we effort in the democratic trajectory around the globe. So as a country, we need to discuss some of them here. Again, I also want to let people understand, say, being a member of parliament, you don't have all the wisdom. I could not discuss today. I have learned some issues where I could discuss with other colleagues then. So in the media, out of the media, we also encourage people when they listen to we or when they watch we or engage we with ideas or when there are sudden bills before parliament for talk to me. I think I get a wonderful program today at AYV. We get different opinions of people when it comes to the death penalty and everything. That is how we build our democracy. Also on this one at the West, when national issue come in, many people they get many opinions. People will write letters to the members of parliament. People will email the members of parliament. People will walk towards them. They will walk to the members of parliament, talk to them on sensitive matters. I think we need to build up that kind of democratic culture again that is part of the world. Also, all time for saying more. We MP themselves. You continue to cry us down, and people think it's changing members of parliament that builds the democracy. No, it's not so. The longer you have a member of parliament, the better representation it be and have more use to the country. But changing people because you think, because all the questions you ask me today, are not seen non-really based when it comes to the opinion of people about MPs. But then what I say, the people then say, the people then think, say, we have to do this, people then think, say, we have to do this. Again, people need to know it now we roles as members of parliament and need for help we educate the people on what's the role of the members of parliament. And when the people begin to understand some of them things and I think the members of parliament will get the leverage for get the space for operate as members of parliament. Actually, talk to me before I can at this interview. Now me, not the member of parliament, I get to go one other interview, I get to do reshout for 2 interviews at the same time. So you are not get a reshutter. When you talk about other countries, them all this.
What do you mean?
No. Okay.
I was there. I've been there around them 2012 and something like that. I think because I've been there like some of my college friends, they're like they who jazz. They added some committees there.
Those are committees, they are not reshutters. When you compare other parliaments in the world, this is where I talk to people when they do institutional comparison, say, oh, now so they work in Ghana. In Liberia, the member of parliament get reshutter what government they provide for them. So when I have issues, like when you give me all this boku assignment for go read about how all the service legislation they happen at the world, I have an assistant who is a reshutter, where I will just give the assignment to, where will help me reshutt with 2 reshutt together.
No, me go volunteer.
How long you get for the volunteer for the reshutt for me?
No, on this issue.
No. What I say is, if you're comparing the institutional expectations in Sierra Leone also look at institutional establishment in other countries, not to just for compare and say, oh, the police na Ghana a professional. Come on. You say when you know you wish for labor to be policeman, it depends on 700,000 a month, which is less than $100. Even the rest we forget they get on time. But you expect the policeman for behave well in real words professional.
It's unfortunate that we are not get researchers there, because now one thing and the way I want to ask you, because my God, I mean, if it's the way so in mind and I mean, if you say them as some researchers.
No, not even talk about researchers. Do I have a security as a member of parliament?
Why you know get that?
You know,
but people are getting that before I left the entire.
Well,
every parliamentarian get once SSD.
It's never true. It's never true. So you see one or two parliamentarians will get security that and it is not in the law books for we get. So again, when people look at institution, they do institutional comparison with other countries. You also need to do not just what you expect, not just expectational analysis, but also for do due diligence for know how the institutions in other countries they operate. How many of our magistrates in Sierra Leone have securities? How many of our judges?
You guys are risk on the risk on our lives. So
okay, so if
you a political figure, then somebody can just move in. You say and go kill S.O. Williams.
Okay, so when you ask all them plenty questions and this why they continue to smile is not because I know you're asking based on what you know, and you know there are certain things you don't know, and because of the unknown fact to make I keep the smile. Every day in a salon, what people they expect you to do, now for do waiting. If them be there in your own capacity, they're not going to do because they're not going to risk their life for do. But then go tell you say, oh, the members of parliament are not doing enough. For 1 minute, you will compare with Kenya MPs. You know it's not the conditions of service. You don't watch your conditions of service.
Enough for the money, you. That beats the bill that punch there, not for the mean anything. So.
No, we don't worry about them. What do they say? I am not specific to talk about members of parliament here.
Well, you don't be member of parliament, just
not just the member of parliament. But if you expect SLBC user with the work for the Excel world, you want compare to Ghana TV stations. Do you know what's because still no people in there that will still receive about 500, 600 a month, and you still expect the possible gap na money in salary is not able to pay in transportation for go work for 2 weeks. What do you expect? So we need to do not just institutional comparison. Oh, we for behave like this, and the judiciary has a lot of behave like the judiciary na Kingston, Jamaica. Hey God, have you done comparison in-depth studies to know how it operates there? So I just wanted to say, Sierra Leoneans, home and abroad, say, as members of parliament, we are open up, and when people they do comparison to institutional comparison, let them also open up for see how they will do due diligence for how the institutions and they operate and how we institutions they operate in a salon before we make. Okay. Well, I don't want to say hasty conclusions, but before we make errors of omission. So I want to thank you very much.
The honor back at the beg you. Yeah, that punch, that public punch. That I just forget about that. That they receive every time. Because people get for putting on our toes, people get for So
no. It's not just putting us on our toes, it's also helping us to get the required knowledge. Well, I'll tell you sadly, most of the people I don't see they write many things about we. When we get one-on-one conversation with them, they also admit, just like we admit it, they say, hey, we not get shattered. They also admit, say, some of the information and the perceptions don't get about we not true. So meaning it also beholds we as members of parliament, most of the young one, they move into the new generation for come out and speak on some of the issues. I am not here to speak on behalf of parliament, but I'm here to speak up. So people who are Sierra Leoneans who think we are basking in everything to understand the circumstance under which we find ourselves. And also, we want to tell you thank you when I get the time for they come out and talk certain things with positive negative about it because it don't make our job so much interesting. Thank you very much. Thank you, viewers.
Thank you so much, Honorable. So so Famula, so we'll come to the end of the program today. Prince.
Daniel,
Prince. Yes, sir.
now for looking at the bottom right corner, you will see 3 dots then there. Now you screen, you zoom screen.
Yeah.
And if you click on them 3 dots, then they will give you an option for stop the live stream.
Okay. That is, I see where I say end.
3 dots na the right corner. Not on top, bottom. So I hold the icon, then they na the far right. There should be 3 dots then there.
Far right. I see under more.
Click more and see what it give you. Or if I just give you 3 dots.
It says stop live stream. Yeah.
Yeah, stop live stream.